First road game of the year. Let's look back at a hard-fought game on Friday night. I would get the feeling that you guys probably feel like maybe you let that out of your hold, that you guys execute better, you guys can win that football.
Yeah, we didn't play very well at all, and especially offensively, and then defensively, we don't feel like we play very well defensively, giving up some blown coverages again on some easy stuff that we shouldn't have blown, and didn't get a stop late when we needed it. And our defensive guys took that personally. But we chewed on our offensive guys a lot. We had 7 drives that got inside the 40-yard line, and we came away with 7 points. And we just found and created ways to kill drives or stall out and miss blocks at the most inopportune times. I mean, that last drive of the game, on that last run play, we missed block a 2 technique. And we block him, we score, and we're going into overtime. So we found ways. It was a growing thing for our kids. Our kids have never been in a game like that. They've been in a close game last year with Ruidoso, but that was the track meet. Yeah. So this one was a field position game. You got to extend some drives, kick the ball away, play good defense, and figure it out. So it was a learning thing for us, but we were not pleased at all. It was Saturday was a rough morning for our kids and our coaches, watching that film and seeing all the opportunities we let slip away. And credit Santa T, Coach Vieira, and I told you, defense was really good, and they got 2 really good linebackers at 22. He's the best one we might see all year. And credit to those kids. They made plays when they had to, and they do a good job. But we were definitely disappointed in our performance and how we let things get away from us.
More than anything, their tackling in some cases, saved some touchdowns. I thought, Sean probably 4 or 5 times maybe had the chance to break one, and one of their safeties or somebody comes up and makes a good leg tackle and cuts a 7, 8, 9 yard gain. Or something
and we're
like
close. We were close to breaking a lot of plays there. And getting loose. That's credit to their kids and playing well and tackling well and doing the fundamental things right. And we didn't do a poor job of it on Friday. We just didn't do it as good as we expect we should at the standard that we set. But we had so many opportunities to slip away from us. And it kills you when you go back and watch the film and looking back at it, all the opportunities. And it's a growing thing for our kids of learning that they got to win football games like that. It's not going to be a blowout. You're going to have to learn how to win close games.
The passing game was the one that I don't know what on certain plays happened, but it seemed like a lot of times it was straight runs into the quarterback. They had their linemen had straight runs to the quarterback, whether it was the play call or somebody missed a block, or what were you seeing after?
Yeah, that's on us, and that I'll take a lot of brunt of that. Our linemen didn't do a good job of picking up some stunts that we'd worked on and showed them, and we made some poor decisions throwing the football and not being on time. Even at the end, we're actually on time, but we missed picking up the stunt, and we got a kid wide open in the flat of the end zone, and we don't get a chance to get it off. And those are things that we just got to find a way to not kill us at those end opportunities. We'll be great for 3, 4, 5 plays, and then it's now 1st and 10, and we take a sack, and now it's 2nd and 20 just because we didn't pick up a stunt.
Yeah. And you're right. The defense, I'm sure there are things that you wanted to see get better, but they certainly kept you guys in that game. It was that kind of back and forth ball possession or field possession kind of game. And they made some big plays when they needed to.
They did, and we talked to our defensive guys about it. And Coach Vilsetti and the defensive staff, when they were watching film on Saturday, spoke the lack of energy. We didn't play with a whole lot of energy defensively, and for that the entire game, nobody did. And that's something that we spent a lot of time talking about this week, is how do we get amped up and play with energy again? Because you can just kind of see it in some plays where we kind of look lethargic, kind of just in no man's land, like, okay, here we go. And so as coaching staff, and that falls directly on me and our staff, is we got to find a way to get our kids to be able to perform in those situations and get amped up.
Well, defensively, they're definitely going to have their work cut out for them this week. This is a team that has scored a ton of points this year in Lovington. The offense is going to spread you out, and they have an exceptionally dynamic quarterback on that team.
They do. They're going to. I don't know if they have a tight end in their program. They won't get it. They won't get a tight end. They're going to have 2x2, 3x1, empty sets the entire time. Being shotgun will never go under center. And their quarterback Casey Perez is a gunslinger, and he's good. He's a phenomenal athlete. Very elusive, hard to tackle, hard to get a hold of, and he does a great job of extending plays and letting his guys kind of turn it into scramble drill and get open, which we've had to work a lot on this week of implementing a scramble drill, of making our guys cover for 10 seconds.
Yeah, and I think it's also when you spread it out, you think a team that's going to pass the ball, but they run the ball just as much, and certainly the quarterback runs it as well. I'm sure that's not all just scrambling; it's design runs.
Yeah, they design a lot of run plays for him to get him loose because he is their best athlete on the field, and rightfully so. That's what we would do if we had a kid like him calling the shots. So they do a good job in that regard. They still have good skill athletes all over the place. Up front, they're absolutely huge. I mean, they got some monsters, and they're anchored by a center that's been a 3-year starter named Lucas Tyreen, who's a big kid who runs the show, and he's a phenomenal offensive lineman. But then their bread and butter is get you spread out and then make plays happen.
Yeah. Offensively for you guys, I mean, certainly if you could, you'd probably like to make it where you guys could have more possession, just run the football. Do you feel like that's something you guys can do this week, or maybe you could
we got to do a better job not killing drives by us, and that's not no disrespect to the team. We just found ways to screw some things up and put us in some long yardage situations. We got to do a better job of capitalizing and extending drives and making them manageable second and third downs and not putting us behind the chains early. We feel like I take our offensive line and put them up against anybody in the state, and we're going to have a chance to be able to success and run the football. But we just got to be able to do it every play nonstop. And if we do that, we can control the clock, slow it down, play at our tempo, and let those guys stay on the sideline.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can keep their offense off the field, that would be a good thing. And I'm sure a big part of it as well is Ryan being maybe a little bit more comfortable in the pocket and be able to get some passes out the way that you guys are looking.
Yeah, he's a young kid. That was only his second start last week, and he's never even been on the field in a varsity game until this year. So he's still growing. He's just a junior. He's a tremendous athlete and dual sport athlete and can throw a football. But he's still growing, and he's got to go through progressions and reads the right way. And that's one of those things we didn't harp on him a whole lot. We talked about getting him better and how is he going to improve. And as a coach, we feel like he's improved from where he started in August to where he is now. We just got to continue to improve on Friday night in those situations, and we got to do a better job around him of making plays when we're open and blocking up front.
And also first road trip of the year for you guys. I mean, it's been a weird season where that you haven't had to make a road trip for a month.
It's gonna be a long last 5 weeks of the year, I promise.
Yeah, you guys will be on the road a lot, that's for sure. But is that? I mean, as a coach, is that something you see that sometimes affects teams that when they finally have to go on the road, it can be.
It can. I've been around teams, and every team's different of how it affects it. And when we traveled for our scrimmage, we've talked to our kids a lot about this is the year we're going to start turning the corner and carry ourselves like a true football program and travel like a winning football program. So when we travel, it's dead silent on a bus. Our kids are on a mission. Our kids know how to travel well, so I don't think it's necessarily going to impact us in that regard. We've got to learn to grow like that and travel like a team that's on a mission to go win a football game, get on the bus, it's still quiet, come back home and get ready for the next week. And those are things that we talk to our kids a lot about carrying ourselves, not like a team that's not going to win games, but a team that's expected to win games, and having a little bit of swagger in how we travel and how we dress and do those things. And we're excited to travel. I mean, we hate leaving Tiger Stadium in this great community, but it's fun to get on the road and go and see some different places. And our kids have never been to Lovington. They've never seen the Smurf turf.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool for them. But nonetheless, at 7 o'clock, there's still a football game played. And that's what we told our kids yesterday in our team meeting. That no matter what happens, at 7 o'clock, it's still a football game. There'll be lights on there and people in the stand screaming.
Yeah. And they've also got to be a little bit hyped up. They got to win over Hobbs for the first time in a while last week. So that's a big win for them in a long time. And Hobbs is down this year. They graduated a bunch of kids, but that's a 4A school being a 6A school. That's a big deal for that program and Coach Gonzalez and his staff to put that notch in their belt. And that's a credit to the team they got. They're very talented and very well coached, and they're gonna be a problem for a whole lot of people. You go back to the first game of the year when they played Roswell High. They put up, I think, 56 points or 53. Yeah.
Now, granted, they gave up 70-something, but, yeah. I mean, they're hard to stop, and they get going. That was a true track meet. I think it was 2-play score, kickoff, 2-play score. That's just the kind of program they got with great community support, great kids that buy into the program, great facilities, phenomenal facilities. Not a fan of the blue turf yet, but not sure I like that color. But yeah, it's a special place. It's gonna be fun for our kids to go to that. We also get to go to the Bulldog Bowl later, which is another storied place, and it's cool to kind of see those storied stadiums and those programs with storied history, and know that's what we're trying to get to here in Alamogordo.